Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Gaper.io. Today we have Frank Pelleteri. He's the VP of Technology at Xander. Frank, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, a brief background about yourself, Frank, before joining Xander, what you've been up to.
Yeah, so my career started back around 2000, got into doing software development, quickly pivoted to project management and business analysis and QA and things of that sort. I've been through a half a dozen companies or so in various forms of that account management as well. Today, I'm vice president of technology at Xander, where my responsibilities really lie on a lot of the business functions within technology, kind of GRC, procurement, service desk, end user services, project management, things of that sort. So I'm kind of I consider myself kind of a utility person that takes on discrete functions and tries to build, scale, and make them productive.
Got it. Interesting. So, uh, coming back to the last 15 months, being uh, how's it been? Let's talk about work from home, and we'll discuss the challenges with hitting teams and all. So let's get to that in a bit.
Yeah. So I remember the week before pretty much the entire country went on lockdown, actually 2 weeks before. Obviously, there was a lot of news about COVID. I made the decision along with, my manager that we should have people work from home. Our office is in New York City, obviously a dense population. It was just starting in New York with this outbreak. And so the week before we went on lockdown, we had asked people to work from home, and there were still a few people coming into the office. And finally we were like, no, really, you need to work from home. And we were always set up. We have a global team, and so we have people that have always been working remotely. And we were set up, and we've always been set up to not have any special privileges by being in the office. When I come into the office, I have to use my VPN and to get access to things. Similarly, if I was home or at the local coffee shop. So, your start of day really doesn't change from an access perspective. So, what I've experienced and what I'm seeing across the board is that people have actually become very productive, and I think that that's both good and bad. Certainly in the early days when everything was completely shut down, I think a lot of my team members kind of immersed themselves in their work, and we experienced a lot of burnout, which we'll cover a little later. But I think it's been great from a productivity standpoint. I do have a lot of people that are that have moved out of the city, moved to bigger places. If you live in an urban environment like New York or San Fran or others, you give up space for culture and other things that cities provide. And when those other things aren't available, you want space. Similarly with people living together and everybody working from home, you're competing for quiet space, desk space, which I had seen throughout my teams.
Sure.
I think for us, it's been kind of a blessing and a curse, but definitely productive.
Got it. So, Xander is 1,000+ company, and being the VP of technology, the do you want to highlight the initial challenges that you faced when it came down to integrating the teams, or because like you've mentioned, everyone was forced to work from home, right? So
Yeah.
not many are used to working from home. with the kids hanging out at home,
Mhm.
stuff, So for some, it really became a challenge. So did
Yeah.
you face those challenges when it came down to productive work? Because writing code, heading technology requires a lot of focus, right?
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah. I
what
mean,
measures you took?
yeah. One of the things we recognized pretty early, there were two camps. One that everybody was just happy to be home and not dealing with the commute, the subway, the bus, and that unless you live in the city or near an office, you're probably betting on a 1 hour commute. And that's what I had when I was coming to the office. And so you're saving 2 hours a day on that commute, and you devote even half of that. That's a pretty big, productive improvement. But similarly, there were people that could not be focused. Had children at home and would literally have to like stop in the middle of a meeting to go tend to a child or whatever. And I think that the most important thing for us was that we had to recognize that, and we had to allow that to happen, and we had to make sure that people felt okay, that if they needed to cut out of a meeting early or quickly, that it was acceptable to do. Early on, we tried things like you know afternoon happy hours virtual, where we'd all log into video conferencing and try to catch up. We also had teams that would keep a video conference channel open, and as if we were we have an open space work environment, and so try to keep it as close to what we were used to. And the one thing we noticed pretty quickly was that people were getting screen fatigue early and often. So that started falling off. And, I think that one of the things that we came to realize is work-life balance. If you're spending 8-9 hours in your work life a day through commuting and working, you can't do that on a screen. You can't sit at your computer for 8-9 hours, not on a regular basis anyway. So, we encouraged people to block time off their calendars to make sure that they had time to focus, they had time to decompress, and come up, be innovative, come up with ideas, things of that sort. And we instituted things like no meeting Fridays, again, to reduce screen fatigue and give people time to focus. So, we it's a lot of trial and error. And I think a lot of companies went through the same thing. I was getting ideas from
Yeah.
other companies, and and I'm hearing a lot of the same issues and concerns that we face.
True. So my last couple of questions would be one around, do you see work from home with the COVID situation improving day by day and the vaccination is happening at a record pace, right?
Mhm.
So do you see work from home is here to stay, or it was just a transition? The world needed some breathing space, and we would have to go back to office culture again, because even the big tech giants are going through their own learning curve. Sometimes they announce, okay, it's permanent. Then they're like, no, you have to come back. No, the perks are going to be different, right?
Yeah.
So your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine us going back to a full-time office schedule. I think we've built, uh, a structure to allow working from home to be a permanent thing. We allocated, we gave stipends for home office improvements, like desks and chairs and things of that sort. What I'm seeing a majority of people doing is setting up a hybrid schedule where they're in the office 1, 2, 3 days a week and working from home the other days. I see, for me particularly, I imagine 1 to 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something of that sort. That's what I'm seeing with other people, what their ideas are. Nobody wants to commute on a Monday morning. Fridays, people want to kind of check out a little early. They don't want to be in the office. So there's going to be some hybrid where people are in the office in the middle of the week on a regular basis, I think. And then, one thing that we've always had is, for our remote folks, we have a quarterly week where people come in to the office from wherever they are, from Europe, from the West Coast, from wherever. And, we get to do things like celebrate, plan, things that you want to do face to face as much as possible. So I imagine, and I don't think that that's radical thinking. I see that becoming the standard more so than not.
Got it. So last question, from a personal productivity point of view, what 3 habits you've adopted in your life, or what changes you've brought into your own personal daily routine to be more productive, efficient, as well as taking care of your mental health? What's your hack?
Yeah. First and foremost, calendar management. Again, I have specific blocks of time on my calendar that I will not accept a meeting or that I will not schedule a meeting. And that has programmed me to be prepared, for that time to, I keep I'm a little old school. I have a notebook that sits next to my computer, and that's my to-do list that I continually update. And when that time comes, so, for example, I don't meet over lunch unless it's an emergency, and I don't meet after 4 p.m. and I don't meet before 10 a.m. Again, unless it's warranted and needed. And then Fridays are usually just one-off meetings, but nothing recurring. So that's one that helps me be productive. 2, I think, honestly, it's been email management. One thing I've noticed is that I get a lot more emails over the last 15 months than I think I used to. At least it feels that way. So having rules on, what lands in my inbox, what I don't need to see, what I don't want to see is important, because that kind of distracts me a lot. And I'm not sure about a third. I think the third is, so one of the things that happened that I realized over the course of a year was I lost contact with folks that I didn't meet with on a regular basis, but I would normally see in the office. And I would hear, oh, so-and-so is having a baby, or so-and-so is moving, or whatever. And I lost that opportunity to, find out those things in real time by being in the office. So I've set up one-on-ones, half-hour one-on-ones with everyone in my organization, which is 55, 60 people, I think, on a quarterly basis, just to make sure that I have time on a calendar for them, because I think for them, they've lost that connection to me. And, we would have great conversation in the office, and we lost that. So I think that was important. It may not be productive, but I think it is for the team to be able to have, structured conversations on a regular cadence.
Got it. Frank, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm sure we would have chatted for another half an hour, but these podcasts, we keep them within 12 to 15 minutes. Yep. Thank you so much for being on the show. Take care of yourself. Stay safe.
Yeah, same here. And thank you for the invite, and stay safe as well.